Welcome to United Report, your ultimate source for everything Manchester United. From breaking news to in-depth analysis, we've got you covered with all the updates, transfers, and match highlights you need. If you're a true Red Devil, this is your home. Hit that subscribe button and let's dive into the world of United together. Casemiro has shared a message on social media as speculation over his Manchester United future grows ahead of Monday's transfer deadline. Recent reports have claimed that Roma have identified the midfielder as a potential replacement for Leandro Paredes, who has been linked with a move to Boca Juniors in recent days. Just as with the Premier League, Serie A clubs also have until Monday to wrap up their transfer dealings for the month. The Brazilian has also been linked with a move to Saudi Arabian side Al Nassr in the past, where former Real Madrid teammate and United legend Cristiano Ronaldo currently plays. As speculation grows over what comes next for Casemiro, the 32-year-old has posted a photo on his Instagram stories of him being involved in United's most recent training session. The picture shows him smiling alongside Victor Lindelof and Bruno Fernandes. Casemiro has made 22 appearances across all competitions for the Reds this season. However, he has been left on the bench for United's last 4 league matches and has not played since the 2-0 defeat at home to Newcastle on December 30th. United boss Ruben Amorim has since revealed that the 5-time Champions League winner can no longer cope with the physical demands of English football's top flight. "Sometimes it's a lot of that," he said. "It's also a player's moment. We understand that Casemiro has other things nowadays. The intelligence he has, understanding the game, understanding where the ball is going to fall. But we're in a league that I can see, even in European competitions, the difference in intensity is big. And so, I feel that this team also needs players with a very high intensity. And sometimes we don't have that, and sometimes that difference in characteristic can lead one player or another to play." He added, "Even the fact that the group has a certain characteristic as a group. I needed some players in certain positions with a slightly different pace. But we all know the quality Casemiro has, and everything he won. And so, I have nothing to say about that. It's just a choice. It's..." Wayne Rooney says Marcus Rashford's Manchester United exile is embarrassing for the out-of-favour striker. Rashford has been frozen out by United boss Ruben Amorim over his failure to meet the expected standards in training and was not part of the squad that flew to Bucharest for tonight's Europa League tie against FCSB. The 27-year-old has not played for United since their 2-1 win over Victoria Plzen in the Europa League on December 12th and is trying to secure a move away before Monday's transfer deadline. Former United captain Rooney revealed he visited United's training ground with his children at the weekend and said it was sad to see Rashford training alone, while the rest of the squad were in London for the game against Fulham. "I went into Carrington on Sunday to take my kids to game day, and Marcus was out on the training pitch with the fitness coach," said Rooney. "But he was right over towards where the parents were walking past for the kids' games. I looked at him thinking how embarrassing it must be for him as parent walk past." Rooney also admitted he has spoken to his former teammate on occasion, urging him to leave Old Trafford for the good of his career. He added, "I was surprised when this started over 2 years ago, but now I'm not. I've spoken to Marcus a couple of times, and I've given him my thoughts and feelings that he needs to leave the club because whatever is going on in his life, and at United, he's not the same. For him to have a fresh start, he needs to leave the club. The fact that your manager is coming out and saying that you're not training right is crazy." Another former United skipper, Roy Keane, said Rashford should be ashamed that Amorim is calling him up publicly over his perceived poor training performances. "I can't get involved in the conversation. I still can't understand at any level whatever's going on with players leaving. Months left on contracts. A player who doesn't train properly," said Keane. "I don't understand it. You might as well leave me out of this conversation. Especially if you think he wants to move, which is more of a reason to train properly so when you go to a new club, you're up to speed, and when you leave the club, at least you showed a decent attitude. He must be ashamed." Gary Neville, who also captained United, said Amorim's public calling out of Rashford is part of a wider plan to find a club willing to take the forward on loan and pay a hefty chunk of his £315,000 a week wages. "I know that Ruben Amorim is honest," said Neville. I do believe that he wants the money back for Marcus. He said that about him training, to probably shine a light on him and get him out of the club. They're probably asking Marcus to take a wage cut to leave the club. They don't want to subsidise the wages, because there's no way a new club is going to pay him those wages. Manchester United will be hoping to wrap up their place in the last 16 of the Europa League when they face FCSB at the National Arena in their final league phase outing tonight. United are in control of their own destiny ahead of their 8th and final league phase fixture, knowing that a victory will guarantee a safe passage through to the round of 16. The Reds beat Rangers 2-1 in dramatic fashion at Old Trafford last week. A draw in Romania may be enough to see Ruben Amorim's side avoid next month's playoff round. For the first time under Amorim, United will be targeting a third successive victory after building on the win over Rangers with a 1-0 triumph over Fulham at Craven Cottage on Sunday. Regarding the team news, Amorim has named a 21-man squad for the trip to Bucharest. Luke Shaw has not been deemed fit enough to be included, and Marcus Rashford has been left out once again. Our United writers have had their say on how they would like to see Amorim set his team up. Altay Bayindir had a good game against Rangers last week and merited a start at Fulham. His turnaround since denying Martin Odegaard from the penalty spot has secured him more playing time, and he will likely be in goal next week against Leicester in the FA Cup. Lenny Yoro can come back in for some minor rotation in defence. Throwing Casemiro in is like throwing a dog a bone. United need some nous to secure a top 8 finish, and Casemiro is the most garlanded player in the squad. In a squad that struggles to score goals, United's 3 best forwards are needed every time they play. Rasmus Højlund, despite his fine European record, is not after his performance at Fulham. Sunday's win at Fulham should ease any fears United had of being dragged into a relegation battle, and the focus should be on this competition now. It is their only possible route into the Champions League for next season. That means a strong time here, and maybe some changes on Sunday instead. Yoro did the press conference last night, but so did Harry Maguire last week, and he didn't start. It makes sense to bring Yoro in for De Ligt as the only defensive change, however. I would return to Ahmad at wing-back, with Diogo Dalot on the left. Kobbie Mainoo can get a start alongside Manuel Ugarte in midfield, making space for Fernandes and Alejandro Garnacho to play the more advanced roles. The real issue is who plays at centre-forward out of Højlund and Joshua Zirkzee. Højlund's confidence looks shot, but neither striker looks a goal threat. Zirkzee can get the nod to take Højlund out of the firing line. After being given a first Europa League opportunity of the season against Rangers last week, Bayindir deserves another shot in goal. United will have a short turnaround between tonight's game and Sunday's clash with Crystal Palace, meaning Andre Onana could benefit from another breather. De Ligt has not finished either of the last 2 matches, meaning it makes sense for Yoro to take his place. The Frenchman should start in the back 3 next to Maguire and Lisandro Martinez. Fernandes should be deployed higher up the pitch after starting in one of the number 8 positions at Fulham. The prospect of him being pushed into one of the 2 number 10 berths opens up a window of opportunity for Mainoo to return and start. Diogo Dalot has backed Ruben Amorim to bring the good times back to Manchester United. United have endured a frustrating campaign, first under Erik ten Hag and now under the Dutchman's replacement Amorim. The 39-year-old has won just 8 of his 17 games in charge, leaving his side 12th in the Premier League. Amorim has led his side to 2 successive wins, but delivered a brutal assessment of the team following the dismal 3-1 defeat to Brighton on the 19th of January. But he also made it clear he was confident he will succeed. In the past 10 games in Premier League, we won 2, said Amorim. Imagine what this is for a fan of Manchester United. Imagine what this is for me. We are getting a new coach who is losing more than the last coach. I have full knowledge of that. We are the worst team maybe in the history of Manchester United. Everybody here is underperforming, and we have to accept that. It is unacceptable to lose so many games. The opponents are better than us in many details. You have to acknowledge we are in a very difficult situation, with all the bad records, as losing games at home, losing games in the Premier League. I know we can succeed, but I am not naive. We need to survive this moment. But I am not going to change, no matter what. Dalot has been a key player under Amorim, starting all but 2 games since he took charge. The fullback is expected to play a significant role once again as United travel to FCSB in the Europa League on Thursday. Ahead of that game, the Portugal international has come out swinging for his manager. He backed Amorim as the best man for United, echoing his manager's belief that success will come back to Old Trafford. Obviously, there's been a change in manager, and I hope this manager stays for 10 years and we can build a new Manchester United history with trophies and wins. That will arrive, I can guarantee you. If it's now or in the future, I can guarantee this club will win again, he said. I am 100% sure of it. It's too big not to. And I don't think there is a better place to be when you are winning and when you are actually competing. I don't think there is anywhere else you could desire to be. As soon as you arrive at this club, it's a shock in every aspect, for the positive and the negative. For you to find that balance of being able to cope with the pressure, with the highs and lows, it takes some time. It took me 4 years to start playing regularly and consistently with this team. I will not say it takes that time for everybody, but for me it was a tough period. I had to come, I played. There was a change in manager, a change in decisions, injuries. Manchester United are the bookmakers' favourites to complete a move for Victor Gyökeres this month. The Swedish striker has been heavily linked with a move to Old Trafford since Ruben Amorim took over as manager in November. He continues to prove why a move would be justified, having bagged 77 goals in just 83 appearances for Sporting Clube de Portugal since joining from Coventry City in 2023. Given United's struggles in the centre-forward position, Amorim would benefit from having the prolific goalscorer in his team. Although a move in January seems to be out of the question, after Amorim insisted he would not be signing his former players this winter, bookmakers Betfair have priced United as favourites at 4-1. Arsenal have been placed as second favourites to sign Gyökeres at 10-1, while Chelsea are 14-1. Alejandro Garnacho and Marcus Rashford are two players who are heavily linked with an exit this month. Following the 1-0 win over Fulham at the weekend, Amorim delivered a damning assessment of Rashford. It's always the same reason. The reason is the training. The way I see what a footballer should do in training, in life, every day. If things don't change, I will not change. You can see it today on the bench. We needed a little bit of pace to change the game to move some pieces, but I prefer it like that. I will put goalkeeper coach Jorge Vital on before I put a player that doesn't give the maximum. I will not change in that department. The England international has not played for the club since the 3-2 defeat to Nottingham Forest in December. Rashford is of interest to Barcelona and Borussia Dortmund and has been tipped to join 4 clubs. Chelsea are tipped as favourites to sign Garnacho at 4-9. United, meanwhile, also feature prominently in the betting to sign Matthias Cunha and Ben Chilwell, as well as Gyökeres.